So, have you been watching the news lately?
Well, yes.
It depends.
What?
Have you heard the story
what
about
story?
Wally, the emotional support animal?
No.
Well, Wally is a 6-foot-long, 55-pound, 8-year-old alligator.
Oh my gosh.
He belongs to a human handler in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia.
Not Florida. Okay.
Wally is pretty famous. He has both the Twitter and Instagram followings and is just kind of a famous guy. So some of the Philadelphia Phillies players invited Wally's handler to bring Wally to meet the players before one of the Phillies' home games recently.
Okay.
So that was all well and good. The players were happy. Wally was happy. But Wally's handler was late in showing up to the stadium.
Oh.
So
Wally got there
rather
first?
than being, Wally was on a leash. He has a harness. He has his own personal harness and a leash. So, but Wally got to the stadium as there were also fans getting there too.
Okay.
So the authorities at Citizens Bank Park, where the Phillies play, stopped Wally. They didn't want to let him in. So the handler says, "Oh, Wally is trained as an emotional support animal. We might want to call him an emotional support alligator, ESA."
Right. Yeah.
So, but the authorities at Citizens Bank Park were not amused, and they didn't let Wally in because while you can bring your service animal to the ball game, and we'll talk about what that is, you can't bring your emotional support animal to the game.
Yeah, I always wondered that difference, right?
Yeah.
Because you see those signs now. It's like you have to be a service animal, not emotional support, which is of great interest to me. Because if I could bring my dog everywhere, I would do it in a minute, get that emotional support
and it's
recognition.
become a huge issue.
But it doesn't.
So we're going to talk about
me in.
the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Okay. 2
titles. Title 3 deals with public accommodations in places like Citizens Bank Park. Service animals are protected under the ADA Title 3, but emotional support alligators, emotional support animals are not protected. So if you are if you're running a stadium or you're a retailer, you have to allow service animals into your establishment unless they would be either a public danger or disruptive to your business. But if it's only an emotional support animal, while they're very important, you don't have to accommodate someone with just an emotional support animal, especially an alligator.
Wouldn't that be dangerous?
It would be.
How is Wally, did they say anything in the stories about
Wally got a lot of press.
Wally doesn't
Wally got a lot of press out of
handler?
it. And the handler said he's never seen an alligator like Wally. Wally's friendly. If you've been seeing news pictures, you may have seen them too, with the handler kind of holding Wally like you might hold your like I hold my dog, a little guy. But you know, just the thought of seeing an alligator,
that could be a little scary,
even if it was on a leash, would be a little bit scary.
So how do you get to be a service versus emotional?
So I do employment law. And so really what we're talking about here is, could you bring an emotional support alligator to your workplace? And the answer is probably not. So under Title I
news for Archie.
of the Americans with Disabilities Act, employers can't discriminate against employees on the basis of a disability. Service animals are dogs, only dogs.
Oh, really?
Miniature horses under a limited number of circumstances, but alligators, other animals are not covered under the ADA's definition of service animal. It's only dogs, and the dogs have to be trained specifically to help a disabled individual to manage their disability. So they have to have specific training. So there are different kinds of service animals. There are guide dogs, seeing eye dogs, hearing on signal dogs, psychiatric service dogs, where they are trained to recognize the onset of certain psychiatric conditions and can take action to protect the disabled individual.
I've actually seen that. It was really super interesting. The dog would sense when the owner was about to get very anxious or was having something was about to happen. And I saw the dog would walked over and like put its paw on her foot and cuddled up and like just knew when something was about to kind of trigger a response in the owner and calmed her down. It was really fascinating.
That's a perfect example.